Despite all the criticism that surrounded this year's NBA Finals, there's no doubt that this was an ideal matchup for basketball enthusiasts. Game to game adjustments to counter successful strategies, on the fly rotation and minutes changes, and a more of a collective game plan to secure victory. This series could be best described as watching two chess masters matching up against each other on the biggest possible stage. I have to give praise to both teams for their mental toughness and consistency since January to continue playing elite level ball. The Thunder were 40-9 after the new year, and the Pacers went 33-14 during that same time. Key injuries early in the season forced both teams to adapt and trust their depth, which ended up being a huge boost for each team in the postseason. OKC heard the complaints over the years of how the NBA's defense is soft or even non-existent at times, and made it their team identity. Their goal is to disrupt the movement of their opponent's offensive sets and force turnovers to create frustration and chaos. Their 108 defensive rating was the league's best this year and caused opponents to have a 15% chance to turn the ball over each possession. Indiana simply leaned into their culture and developed a high-scoring, fast-paced flow to their sets that wears opponents down if they aren't able to be slowed down. The Pacers are always in constant motion, rarely ever allowing their opponents a second to think, so that they can take full control of the game. Their offensive rating of 117 was top 10 in the league, but their field goal percentage of 49% was top 3. Everyone had the Thunder as the heavy favorites to win the series, but the Pacers had something to say about that early into the series. I mentioned in my finals preview that both teams were really good on the road and that protecting home court is more valuable than ever. Game 1 was a reminder that this Pacers team is a serious title contender, as the Halley heroics led to an improbable victory that put immense pressure on OKC. The Thunder responded in Game 4 as SGA went MVP mode and scored 15 in the fourth quarter to secure the much-needed road win. Despite what anyone says, this Thunder championship is more than valid, and I'm confused as to where all the hate is coming from. If you're not a fan of how the Thunder play, okay, cool, that's fine, but to say that everything that led them to this point is fraudulent is beyond disrespectful. Last year, the narrative was this team was too young and didn't deserve the number 1 seed in the West after they got eliminated in the second round by Dallas. Cool, so what does OKC go do? They go out and acquire Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein to fill the needs of their system. The Thunder get the number 1 seed again this year with 11 more wins than they had last year, and they won a championship. Is that not adaptation? Isn't that what you're supposed to do as a franchise? There were complaints that OKC's defense was hacking and too physical. There were instances where a call definitely should have been made, but that's out of the Thunder's control. OKC has played this brand of defense literally all season, so I'm not sure why it's just becoming a problem now. Wait, I know why. Because it's the playoffs and that comes with a wider audience and the potential for more casual viewers. There's nothing wrong with being a casual viewer of the NBA, but it does become an issue when casual viewers start spreading narratives with little to no context that are heavily biased. Saying things like OKC wouldn't have won if Halliburton didn't get injured is dangerous because that pretty much negates everything OKC did to get to a Game 7, plus it narrows your ability to see any other factors that led to your team coming up short. Like how Rick Carlisle should have played Siakam and Nembhard 40 plus minutes with their season on the line, how all of Indy's bigs were as useful as cones out there on the floor, or how Obi Toppin a 20-minute cardio game where he was a non-factor. After watching this year's playoffs, Indiana will be a team I'll be watching pretty often next season. I enjoyed watching Andrew Nembhard develop into a valuable two-way threat. I feel like the experience gained from this deep postseason run will only aid his evolution next season. I was impressed by the impact that TJ McConnell was able to create when he came off the bench. It seemed like he was subbing and 3 minutes later, he had 6 points and 2 steals and there was nothing that could slow him down. His ability to carry the momentum from the previous unit on the floor or create a spark off the bench is ideal for postseason success. I'm hoping that Halliburton is able to bounce back from this Achilles injury and turn into the superstar point guard that he can be. People were hesitant to call him a star due to the lack of production in some games, which makes sense, but you can't deny how valuable he becomes down the stretch. He managed to hit a game-winning shot or a go-ahead basket in each series that he played in. He does need to become more aggressive and look for a shot early into games. With the Eastern Conference up for grabs next season, I wouldn't be surprised if Indy takes the number 1 seed and gets back to the finals again. I think the scariest thing about OKC is the fact that they still haven't reached their full potential yet. Yes, they were dominant and more than deserving of this year's title, but they still have a glaring weakness that needs to be addressed. In times when the defense wasn't generating easier offense, a lot of their offensive sets lacked motion and relied too much on SGA being able to create a scoring opportunity. With the treasure trove of draft picks that the Thunder have, I'm pretty sure they have no problem drafting or trading for the talent they need to fix their problems. Another possible solution could be developing Lou Dort and or Chet Holmgren to become better scorers off the dribble and drive into the hoop. Dort has become such a reliable spot-up shooter that the defense must respect it. If he improves his finishing ability, he could take advantage of tight closeouts and use all of his 220 pounds to get to the rim. I would love to see Holmgren work out with KD more to develop his handles and his ability to create shots in the mid-range. That's what it'll take for this team to become a dynasty. The NBA has to do a better job of creating an exciting atmosphere. They proved that they had the ability to be creative with the designs of the courts for the in-season tournament. Honestly, I wouldn't have been mad if they just copied those court designs for the finals because the presentation wasn't engaging at all. Even if the NBA doesn't want to take time to come up with designs, I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to hire a designer that could create eye-catching overlays and visuals, court designs, jerseys, etc. Social media pretty much bullied the NBA to improve their finals presentation, and the NBA responded by adding 2 little digital championship trophies near mid-court for half of the game. Look at how a few simple design changes instantly lets you know the importance of this series.